Welcome to Community Chat. My name is Kevin Toschi, and I will be your host for this segment. Abington CAM has produced a series of programs geared towards better informing you, the resident, the voter here in the town of Abington, about the candidates who are going to be on the ballot come April 30th. Joining us today is a candidate for re-election to the Abington School Committee. We have Danielle Grafton. Danielle, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Now, we can't assume everybody knows who you are, so if you will, for folks who don't know, share.
Sure. Introduce me. I'm Danielle Grafton. I grew up in Weymouth. I'm a 14-year Abington resident. I bleed public schools. I graduated from Weymouth High School, went on to study at the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, did my master's at Bridgewater State, and have been a public school teacher for the past 22 years. And I love Abington. I'm so proud of our schools. I have 3 boys sprinkled throughout the grades here in town.
If you will, tell us why you decided to initially run for school committee, and then here you are, second term, seeking a second term.
I initially decided to run for school committee because I had been attending the meetings for a while. I think as an educator, when I had my own children start school, clearly my heart bleeds everything school related, and I wanted to make sure that I did everything that I could at home with my own kids and in the schools to help provide the best possible education for my own kids and the kids in town. I'm up for re-election because although I am proud of the work that our committee has done, there are still a lot of things that I would like to accomplish, and I'm ready to get back to work.
What kind of experience and knowledge do you feel you possess that would help this board if you're re-elected?
I think it's really important to have the perspective of somebody who works in schools, who knows the ins and outs of what it's like to be in a classroom. I think I bring 3 different perspectives to the table as a mom, seeing what my kids are going through through their lens, from my experience as a teacher, a 22-year teacher at the high school level. I know what's going on in classrooms in the state, and I also, through my master's degree, I have my master's in educational leadership, and so also being able to step in, to imagine what it's like to be an administrator, having been trained to be one. I think I bring a unique perspective to the table, that I'm able to kind of see the playing field in different ways.
What challenges do you see the school system facing in the near future, and how do you feel the board should address those needs or challenges?
I think the biggest challenge that the school system has been facing for the past 2 years is the recovery from the effects of COVID. I think for students and teachers alike, getting kids reacclimated to learning, to remember what it's like being a student in a classroom has been our focus. I think it's important for us to support our teachers as they continue this tremendous challenge of getting our kids back into the groove. I know that we've been in school for a year. We've been working hard to transition the kids, but it's a work in progress, and it's going to take some time to make those gains to get us back to where we were before COVID.
What do you feel are the public's main concerns regarding the town's school system?
I think that over the years, there have been a few concerns that I've heard voiced. It's always the concern for class sizes and the rigor of the curriculum. Parents want their kids to get the best possible education, and usually that comes with a smaller teacher-to-student ratio so that all of the kids get that contact with the teacher. And I think making sure that the curriculum is up to date and rigorous so that when we graduate our students, that they are ready to tackle whatever challenges come next.
What would you say is your understanding of the school budget, how it's funded, and what more needs to be done to consistently provide for the district's educational needs?
The budget is based on the town's tax base and the money that comes in from the state and federal government. I've been really proud over the past 3 years to see what our town has done with the monies that have come in. I think that it has been spent very responsibly. I'm proud that we haven't faced a crisis in a long time. I think we have kept the ship going in the right direction. We've been able to fund classrooms. We haven't had to have any teacher layoffs in a long time. We've been able to maintain all the programming. In order to be able to do this, it requires a lot of work between all of the administrators and different town groups who take a look at all of the monies coming in. And I think that after reviewing the budget this year, Abington is still in a really good place. We've been very responsible, and we've been able to add a few positions and continue to help the diverse needs of all of our learners.
Let's talk a little bit about capital needs. What do you see are some of the school district's capital needs?
Right now, the ones that have been on our list are things relating to the wear and tear of the schools. Repaving parking lots, taking care of roofs on some of the buildings, remediating some lead paint issues on the Frollo building. But the kind of elephant in the room, and it's probably a good elephant to have, is that with more and more people keeping their kids in the Abington Public Schools and the growing population, we might down the road need to revisit, will we have enough space in our classrooms?
So as we're coming out of COVID, what does the district need to do to be able to take care of our students to help them recover?
There has been a big focus on student social and emotional learning and making sure that we are looking at adding positions for school adjustment counselors, guidance counselors, taking a look at different programming for the students, bridge block at the high school to help students connect with adults in the building and provide them with the support and time to meet with teachers. So I think just a revisiting of our students' needs, surveying the students, the parents, the teachers, and reevaluating what we already have in place to make sure that we're doing enough. We've set up some great programs, taken a look at the positions that we need to make sure that the kids are being taken care of, and revisiting that to make sure that we're doing enough.
When we talk curriculum, I would ask you, what educational programs do you feel that the school district should add or maybe seek in the future?
There are a lot of things on my list. At the meetings, I've brought up a few things that I would like to see. I think for me, a lot of my wants for my own kids and for all the kids of Abington would be to take a look at things that we might not be able to change, a rotating schedule. I would like to see, for the high school curriculum, some real life skills brought in, or at least, I shouldn't say brought in, I know they're being taught, but made graduation requirements for all the students. Basic maths, basic finance, personal finance classes, getting our students some experience interviewing either for jobs or colleges, bringing in some job and career fair simulations so that our seniors can go and sit in on different workshops with members of the community who can help who can help them understand what the different careers are out there. And also educate the students and their parents on the options post Abington High School to make sure that we're directing kids down the right path, that college, trade school, military, gap years, so many different options besides kind of what everybody has been led to believe for the four-year college experience after, that we're hitting on the needs of all kids.
We're going to go in a different direction. I think we kind of just talked about a want, and if there was enough funding to be able to add programming. Let's go in the other direction. There are always times that there could be a tough budget season or two. What programs would you hold sacred as a school committee member?
I think the most important piece that I wouldn't touch is your staff. I think at all costs we would need to make sure, do everything humanly possible to make sure that we don't cut teachers, paras, nurses, all of the staff around the building who help to make everything work like clockwork in a school. So, of course, all of the extra programming is important, but the staff who educates our kids, that there is no replacing any of them. So keeping that student to teacher ratio as low as possible and protecting our teachers would be the most important thing for me.
We've come to that point of our conversation that's starting to wind down, but where I'm going to ask you, is there a question or an item or an issue that we haven't discussed or mentioned during our talk here, but you want to take a moment to touch upon?
I would like to say, and I try to say it as much as humanly possible, I am so proud of our town. I wouldn't choose to send my kids anywhere else. We have an amazing staff. We have great programming for such a small little town. And I'd just like to remind everybody that the school system, the health and the success of our school system starts at home. And just to ask that any adults out there, any parents, any family members, it's so important to get involved in the schools and to know what's going on and to make school a priority at home, to let your kids know how important the classroom experience is.
We got one final question, and that is if folks want to find out more about you, if they want to get in touch to talk to you about your bid for re-election, how can they do that?
Emails, phone calls. I am reachable almost every moment of the day. I'm super friendly, so if you see me around town, on the fields, anywhere, supermarket, feel free to stop me. I am always willing to have a good conversation about our schools.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. And we want to thank you for tuning in to programs like this, especially right before the town election or even state elections. But first and foremost, the purpose of these shows, as I said at the opening of this program, is to better inform you about the candidates. Don't forget, town election coming up on April 30th. If you're not sure as far as voting and what to do, reach out to the town clerk's office at Town Hall. Until our next program, have a great day.